ATS and Elite, aside from that, is just the bridging software, right? Currently, for Elite, you would need to use the third party platforms. I would say QuantLink, but QuantLink is still an open beta, so it's not officially released yet. But for Elite, you would use the third party platforms, or so like Pick My Trade, Traders Post, Cross Trade. That would take the algorithms that we provide to you and their alerts. That would receive them and then execute on your account. Okay. Whereas ATS, it's similar where it's a bridging software. It will take the same alerts from your TradingView, receive them, and execute on your account. The biggest difference is that it's undetectable, and speed-wise, execution speed on average is anywhere between about 105 to 130, 140 milliseconds, like 24/7. Okay, so it's much quicker and it's undetectable, more so geared around prop firms. So if you have a prop firm that doesn't allow automation, ATS would be your way to go if you want to automate that prop firm, because the executions that you will use through ATS are through hotkeys and they're undetectable. Okay. Whereas Elite, again, you would just have to go to a third party source to find that platform that automates for you. QuantLink will be something that gets offered both for Elite members as well as will be included for ATS members. Okay. So that would actually, when it's fully released, take out the need for you to need to go to a third party for Elite, right? Instead, QuantLink, built by us, programmed by us, will be essentially we'll be giving you guys the opportunity to actually use that and purchase that. That would be our own built-in third-party platform that ATS users also will be using as well. And there's also a built-in copy trader too. Okay, so at that point, the biggest difference would really be obviously ATS 2.0, which is a whole workaround where the algorithms are going to be coded into, how they're going to be native into the ATS 2.0 platform based off of real tick stream data. And then also, obviously, with QuantLink as well, it'll be included versus Elite, you'll have to pay for it separately. Okay. And then again, the algorithms, QZeus, QChronos Evo, QICE, which are ATS only algorithms, all the rest come with Elite. Okay. So I'm going to go over a little bit in the Discord here. As we all know, those of you who are non-members, basically you guys can see everything from this trading floor here up. So all the way through the profits and losses, lessons and losses, payouts, profits and wins, the public chat, support. We do have a daily training plan as well. New videos for YouTube. This is the channel where you would go to see them. There's some testimonials here. There's some updates for strategies. There's some P&Ls, for example, October P&L on cash accounts. We have the support channel here as well if you want to ask questions. And then above that, we have basically the QuantVue HQ FAQ section. You have the FAQ, difference between plans, how to manage your account, sign up. This is where you would sign up. This is where you would manage your account. This is where you would get your role. So if you're an active member and you don't have your role and you feel like your Discord channels are kind of limited, this Dino form right here will give you your role in the Discord. Okay. We also have the quick start guide for all of the plans. We have the announcements. This is where all the important announcements are shared. So, for example, the After Hours Monday today that was sent. If you scroll up, this is where we do have updates for basically everything that's important. Okay, and we do tag everybody. Official links. One thing I definitely want to get out there is that none of us, whether me, whether Austin, whether Conjure, Mike, nobody on the QuantVue team, no admin, no owner or co-owner will ever DM you guys first. Okay. If you get a DM from someone that's a Tutonomics and you've never spoken to before, you didn't add them, you didn't message them yourself first, and it just comes out of nowhere, automatic red flag needs to pop up in your head. That's a fake person. That's someone who's trying to pose as one of our QuantVue team members in order to then try and scam people out of money. Okay. We have bots that automatically ban people that have similar names or usernames, but ultimately, people, some have a workaround around that, or they'll have a regular, a regular account inside the server, and then they'll go into like the list of new people who are joining, and they'll just add them individually with the other account, and then they'll DM you, right? So automatically off the bat, you should not be going to any links outside of directly in the server. So in official links, you can find everything that you need: the website, demo calls, wire instructions, crypto payments, If you want to become an affiliate for ATS, cash accounts through Alert Dragon, free scripts, signing up for TradingView, so on and so forth, right? All of that is all the official stuff. Okay, disclaimer, affiliate program, again, like we talked about, Q&A for ATS program. So this will kind of take you through everything about ATS if you want to review this before being on the large group webinar for ATS, like the demo account. And then as well, similarly, FAQ for ATS 2.0 for QuantLink. This has all the videos that you would need to kind of study and watch before you take that large group webinar as well. Because again, it's going to be a demo call. We're going to go through all of that in person, not on this call, but on the Wednesday call. If you want to schedule that, you can use that link there. Going below that, obviously, prop firm sign up. You also have the user manual as well here. Shop items, because we do have like the custom made trading journal. We also have the CR charts template as well. Order flow, CR chart suite, and then obviously for new members, this is just, you don't really need to pay attention to that. But more so the support, more so the profits and wins. We can look from today. What was this? QGrid Banksy. Okay, so this is 1.3. So this is an updated version of Q Banksy or Auto Banksy on NinjaTrader. And then this was J12 Matic. J12, perfect. J12 Matic as well for today. QZeus didn't take a trade today, so neither did Q Chronos for most case scenarios. So there was no trade for Q Zeus today. As you can see, other people using either strategies that they are manually trading or automated. This was me today during the bootcamp, the live trade that we took manually. We also have keep going up. A lot more people using AutoBanks on NinjaTrader across 5 PAs, so on and so forth. And again, these are daily profits. So this is people that are posting profits on a daily basis. I don't really pay too much attention to this because, again, at the end of the day, profits, a new algorithm I think can be profitable at least one day. So the big thing that I would definitely pay attention to most is definitely the payout section, right? This section is where you're going to find, obviously, everybody's ultimate goal is to get through evals, then through the evals, get through the payouts, and then or get to the PA accounts, and then once you get to the PA accounts, get to your PA or your payout itself, right? To get to that money side of it. Okay, same thing with cash accounts. If you go to the payout section, you'll see a whole bunch of people posting results from using either automation or manual or a mix of the two, and showing all their payouts that they're getting using the QuantVue tools, QuantVue algorithms. For example, this guy, Take Profit Trader, basically the 9th, the 14th, 16th, 17th, 20th, 21st, almost a payout every single day using the automated strategies that we have offered. You can see anybody that has orange name, ATS is an ATS member. Anybody that has a gold name is an elite member. Anybody that has a blue name is a pro member. We also have other people here, Elite Trader Funding. We have Apex. We have Blue Knox, Top Step, Mike on his own cash accounts as well, which I think does add to how confident we are in the system it is that we share with you guys. We use it on our own cash accounts. I'm using it on my own cash account. I use it on my own funded accounts. So does Austin as well. It's the same exact settings, same algorithms, same programs that you guys have access to as well, or would have access to if you're a non-member. And we just keep going and going and going. In this section alone, if we scroll all the way to the top, these are only payouts from the last day of April to today. So about 7 months, right? So April 29th to today. These are all the payouts that we've had in 7 months across multiple different prop firms with multiple different users. I mean, it just keeps going and going and going and going, just so on and so forth. And I still haven't stopped, right? Well, I would say probably, what would you say, honest, like 1,000 plus payouts, more or less, just as a guesstimate. And that's it, not even including everybody, because not everybody posts. We have plenty of ATS users specifically that, you know, we have plenty of ATS users that specifically like just don't post or even use Discord. They just use the algorithms, they set them up, and then they forget about it, right? Tom Gunn said, what was before April? It was tracked, it was just in the profits and wins section. So if you want to see the payouts there, you just go to April 29th and you just scroll past that date. But this section specifically, we just did it to kind of like organize payouts versus just individual profits and wins sections or posts. So April 29th was just when this channel was created. But any payouts before that you'll see if you go to April 29th and you just scroll later in the day, right? Which again, we're just about as much. Obviously, as we grow more and more, there's going to be more payouts because we have more users. Right now, we have a little bit less than 1,000 users. We're coming up on 1,000 though, for ATS members alone. And then, yeah, losses and lessons. This is where you can see people that are, they either share a losing day or a losing week or a losing streak, anything really. For example, here, 8-day win streak comes to an end, literally 1 point from take profit, and then turns around, $335 loss, $307 loss here for MG for his Michael Gold, um, Apex. I think they were using. I think this was them trying to trade the CPI strategy, if I'm not mistaken. Oh yeah, see, CPI.
Yeah.
It was CPI. Okay, so it was CPI day. Where we do some. What I do share is sometimes we'll do is we'll take CPI to pass Apex accounts on one day. Um, this most recent CPI that happened last Friday, I think was like the first time that I lost accounts on CPI day. In the past like 11 months, 12 months, give or take, probably a little bit longer. Um, but aside from that, every month was like successfully passed, right? But either way, loss and lessons, like we have this entire section here to people for people to like share, like when they have a losing day, when they have a large losing day or a small losing day, whatever the case. Like we have admins here. So this is Zeus that just took a losing day. It has an 80% win rate, right? So that doesn't mean 100. So it means that not every trade is going to be a winning trade. But we just add this and share this to kind of show like this was me myself on my own funded accounts, $300, so on and so forth. People just share this. Again, it's just for transparency purposes. We don't want to make it seem like there's only payouts and only winning days every single day because that's not the case, right? So that's really the biggest reason why we have that there. And then obviously down below that, we'll have the member areas. You say, so Code Modra said, if I buy Elite just to try it and then upgrade to ATS, what do you recommend me to start if I don't have any prop account yet? Like what type of account you have, or like which prop firm to start with? Is that what you mean? So what should I start with? Cash, prop, or demo? Oh, always demo. I would say while you're learning the system and learning the setup process and going through your onboarding, always, always, always demo. If you're using a strategy like out of the box Q Zeus or a strategy like Q Chronos, which does take the same entries as Q Zeus, it just doesn't have martingale enabled or long boost or whatever. Um, at the end of the day, I would always recommend like starting demo first while you're learning it. What you do after that is more so up to you. Whether you want to do a cash account or a prop firm, we have people that do both. I do both. I manually trade. I automate cash accounts. I automate prop firm accounts. Um, that's what most other people do as well. But I would say during the learning phase, definitely demo because the last thing you want to do, a lot of the big mistakes that happen is for the most part, people are just, they don't go through all the entire onboarding process or go through all of the material, the training material that we have that we provide for you guys. And they just go straight into a cash or a funded account, right? And then they mess something up during the setup process and it fucks them, you know, excuse my language, but it does, right? So it's better to go through those mistakes on a demo account than on an account that matters, right? So again, I would always recommend starting with demo, especially if you're newer. And then as you're learning the system and then you decide what strategy you want to run, then you can go on to then using cash or prop, right? What platforms do I need to try the Elite on a demo account? So the demo account would have to be through TradeVate or NinjaTrader. You can use either or. At the end of the day, the logins work across each other. Automation wise, um, for the demo, you would need either a third party or you would use QuantLink, right? And then the demo account itself, you would take from TradingView to your bridging software and your bridging software to your TradeMate account, right? Alert Dragon is only for cash accounts, whereas ATS and QuantLink you use for both cash and demo account, or cash and demo and prop accounts, right? So what you would need for a demo account, you'd have to open up a demo account, and then you'd need the bridging software to take from TradingView to your bridging software to then your demo account, and that's how you would then practice it basically, right? But the platform most, I would say, um, what's the word? Oh my god, having a little bit of a brain fart. The platform that is most correlated with working the proper way on QuantLink or ATS or anything is Tradevate. So you want a Tradevate demo account or a broker that offers a demo account on Tradevate, the platform, because Tradevate is both. That's where your account is. That's where you're getting executed on. TradingView, obviously everybody has a TradingView account no matter what for the most part. And then the bridging software either be a third party if you're on Elite, or QuantLink if you're signed up for that instead, or if you're on ATS, it would be the ATS or QuantLink or both, right? So for the demo content, you just need the demo, you need the bridge, and then you need the algorithm that you decide that you want it to trade. Okay. In the Discord, though, back to the member sections, right? So we do have the member announcements, but we do have member specific, topic specific open chats. So for Pro, for Elite, Automation, NinjaTrader specific, QuantLink specific. I mean, if we go through all of these, you'll see Pro members, Elite members, Automation chat. So this is Elite and ATS, NinjaTrader chat, Elite, ATS, and Pro, because there are some Pro indicators that are on NinjaTrader. You also have QuantLink as well. So this is a QuantLink chat. If you want to ask questions, obviously you would need to be either Elite or ATS in order to be a part of it. ATS client chat, obviously you would be an ATS member to be a part of it as well. We do have the boot camps. Obviously these are for the bootcamp members. Off topic, prop firms chat. This is more so for prop firms specific, asking questions on what prop firms might be best for what strategies, so on and so forth. Some people just use different algorithms for specific strategies. In my opinion, if you're specifically an ATS member and you're not using QZeus, you're doing yourself a disservice. That's just my opinion, right? Other people decide to use other automation strategies. We have multiple, including multiple different variations of automation strategies that we offer, right? So we have the entire automated trading forum. This entire forum right here, each forum is a different strategy, whether it's obviously one of the strategies that we offer, but some of the differences include trading a different asset, a different time frame, different set of settings, a different time of day. Basically, any small changes, they apply it to a chart, and then they find success with it while trading it, both with backtest and forward test, and then they'll share it here in the automated trading forum, right? So, for example, Shinobi's QZeus MNQ setup. If you wanted to trade his exact setup, right, there's an entire forum about it. The original post has a description of exactly what changes he made, what sizing he used, and then they also have a strategy link. This will essentially automatically populate settings for that strategy onto your own account or your own trading. Okay, to where then you just need to automate it and you have those same exact settings, right? A lot of them will have results posted. So, for example, this was on his PA accounts, May 1st to August 8th, or I'm sorry, August 2nd. So it's over 3 months, or May, June, July, yeah, 3 months, using 3 micro contracts. This was the equity curve without fees. This was the equity curve with fees. P&L, he had a profit of $5,620, $344 trade fees and commissions with an 81% win rate. Largest win was 625, largest loss is 474. Okay, if you want these exact settings, you just go to the forum, you go to the top, and you find the strategy link right here.
Charging
you click
battery.
that'll open your own TradingView layout, and then you save that as your own, and then that's what you automate through the alerts. Okay, each one of these forums is its own separate strategy, right? Even Mike has his own forum here for Q Chronos Evo for his cash account. Same thing here. You go to the very, very top, and he has his strategy link here. If you want to do Jumo, you go to the very, very top, right here, and you have the strategy link here, as well as with the entire description on the strategy itself, right? So you can do two of the things. You can do the out of the box settings, which is what's provided by the algorithm just by placing it on the chart. And then there's what I like to call the semi out of the box settings. That's you get something or settings from the Discord and you place them on the chart the same way, right? But the settings are automatically implemented for you. We also have the automated chart layout for Elite Plan. These are the top three, or the ones that have been the most proven and basically created by team members, ownership, or partners. And then same thing for ATS, right? Right now, for those of you that are ATS currently in here, the QZeus out of the box settings have been updated more closely um, to what Shinobi's settings have been. Okay, so now whenever you apply those settings, those will be different. They won't include Fridays anymore, and then it'll stop at 11:30 rather than 12. So just to give you guys a heads up of those changes in case you did not know. Okay, but those are some of the updates that we had. All right. For those of you that are pro or even elite or ATS that did want to learn manual trading, we do have manual systems here and manual strategies. I would say one of the more popular ones is going to be Banksy manual system. Respectfully, although I'm the one that created it, it's the most consistent, simple, and easy to copy and learn. I would say anybody here that trades it can probably attest to that same exact opinion. But again, I might be biased towards it. But it is taught as well as some of these other strategies. It is taught directly in the Discord, and then specifically for this one, there's YouTube videos and stuff that you can watch that will explain entry models, criteria, confluences, all that stuff. So there's something in here for everybody. Pro traders or pro plan traders that it's strictly manual stuff. Elite automation traders, which obviously once QuantLink gets off or once QuantLink gets released, you guys will also have the option to purchase that instead of having to go to a third party and then also have to go to a third party for a copy trader. QuantLink will have both. It'll be both the way to automate your algorithms on Elite and a way to copy trade. Okay. And then here in the training section, if we go to the bottom, we have member resources. This is a training section for each specific plan. We have one for NinjaTrader specifically as well. Also for ATS. Okay, so this is your whole ATS. Obviously, ATS comes with a one-on-one onboarding call, ongoing support, support center, knowledge base, troubleshooting steps. Elite and Pro, anything support wise to this day currently happens directly in support chat, or you can email support directly, and that would be hello@quantvue.io. Okay, and you can again find that directly here as well. But as you can see, you don't really need to be a elite or pro or even a member at all to get support and have answers or have questions asked. Right? Anybody that has a green name or a white name, they're a non-member. Right? They can ask questions to support in the public chat. And as you can see here, we have other ATS members that help answer those questions. We have owners that help answer those questions as well. Everybody here is very, very helpful when it comes to how they're helping. If you open up, so if you go to the top right, you go to the member list right here on Discord, you'll see all of the members in that specific section, and you'll see what their role is. So Mike, founder CEO, myself, I'm Banksy in the Discord. I'm an admin. Condor, who's in this call as well. Marcus, Shinobi, also, and then we also have Austin, who's in this call as well, and Smith, also, who are all QuantVue team members, admins, so on and so forth. Right. So our job is to kind of make sure that you guys have all the information that you have going forward to be able to make the most consistent and most educated decision based off of the data and all the information that we have to offer. Okay. And then, of course, like I said, we have the onboarding or the large ATS group demo calls on Wednesdays. Those are at 4. And then we have smaller group webinars, which are smaller, like almost one-on-one type of thing for ATS, for like asking questions about ATS, like similar to the ATS demo, but just in a smaller group setting, right? But we always recommend start with the large group webinar first and watch that, and then take part and sign up in the smaller group. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about anything that I just asked whatsoever? Yeah, line. If you want to ask a question, just type it in. We have everybody muted, so all the questions were just going to be like directly typed in. But there's no rush. Just type them in, and I'll answer it. Jonah said it's clear for me. Awesome. Well, Jonas, you're an ATS member. I hope it's clear for you, brother. But again, you have your own ATS client chat, and in your DMs, you also have your onboarding and all that stuff, and you have all of these sections. And then, of course, oh, one thing I also forgot to mention: other things that's offered outside of ATS or any other plans. We also have the boot camp, which it's a 30-day boot camp, Monday through Sunday. There's a session every single day, including live trading, teaching guys how to use the tools, sizing, risk parameters, psychology, basically anything under the sun. Those are offered to anybody, even if you're not an active member. Okay, obviously we would recommend you being a member because a lot of the tool or all the tools and automation that we go over is QuantVue specific. Um, but it's still good information. So that's something that we do offer outside of Pro Elite and ATS, just for any of you guys that are asking, because I know some people DM me about it. When are we expecting to launch QuantLink? It's in open beta currently, so I want to say very, very soon. There's not a specific date yet, but if you're an elite, excuse me, if you're an elite or ATS member, you currently have access to the open beta. So like I use it myself currently as well. But the specific date hasn't really been shared as of yet. But again, it being an open beta means that it's going to come sooner than later. Will Banksy Auto get QuantLink integration soon? Um, the one on NinjaTrader?
No, the one on TradingView.
Oh, the one on TradingView. I don't, but I don't think that's a priority currently. Um, Respectfully, if you're using Banksy manual, I would recommend either doing the NinjaTrader version, the newest version that's out on NinjaTrader, or doing it manually. In my opinion, I mean, at the end of the day, that's going to give you probably the best results. Compared, it's not that the TradingView version is bad. It's just that the data that it's reading is not the greatest, right? So it's very different from manually trading it than you are if you're working or depending on the alerts from the automation side of it. Monster. Oh, that's a question for you, Austin.
Yeah, that's a good question. The way it's set up now, the OCO is sent once, and it's a static take profit and stop loss. So we'd have to come up with some way to cancel the existing orders and send new ones on every bar. So that's a decent question, and I will push it up for you.
Code Modress said, "Do you recommend trying to pass 300K on CPI or shoot?" When it comes to passing CPI strategies or passing accounts for CPI, this is what I'll say. 50K accounts are much easier to pass, but harder to keep as a funded account. 300K accounts are much more difficult to pass, but easier to keep as a funded account. How you are going to pass that, you're going to be able to pass 50K accounts at a higher rate because you have to worry about the trailing drawdown much less than on a 300K account, right? Like the trailing drawdown for a 300K account, and I'm using Apex as an example, is not one-to-one correlated to the trailing drawdown on a 50K account, right? 300K is 6 times the size of 50K, but the drawdown allotted to you on that 300K is not also 6 times the size of the 50K drawdown. It's only probably about 3 times the size. So when people say, "Oh, I'm going to risk in size 6 times higher on a 300K account," that doesn't necessarily make sense to me because you don't have 6 times the drawdown. You only have 3 times the drawdown. So you always size based off of the allotted drawdown for whatever account it is that you're trading, not whatever the prop firm account size is, because you don't actually have that amount to work with, right? You only have the drawdown to work with. So really, you'd be trading it like you have a $2,500 cash account, right? Right. You would adjust 3 times, but the profit target is still 6 times. So that's why I'm saying it's not correlated. So you would need double the move, is what I'm saying. And with CPI, it doesn't matter most times, but there will be times that maybe it goes in your direction and you're in profit $10,000, right? For example, on a 50K account, if you're sized with 5 minis or 10 minis, whatever, and it goes up $10,000 and it wicks instantly, you're even though you're past the profit target, the trailing drawdown is still in effect because it only cares about the closed profit. So that's the reason why you have to be careful, because the trailing drawdown for a 300K will trail more closely. So it's just going to be more difficult. Like I said, I think that if you're going to do a 300K account, you might as well, you know, trade it normally or on a normal automation and just trade it normally. And then 50K accounts, sure. If you have the money to fucking throw it at, excuse my language, but if you have the money to throw at prop firms, put them on 50s and use the CPI pass strategy that I have on the YouTube channel, right? It tells you how to calculate stop losses, how to calculate take profits, how to place the orders, so on and so forth. What do you mean, Smith? Like in the sense of what? Like for evals and passing evals, or are you talking about for a funded account? Oh, a funded account. I didn't even read the whole thing. I'm sorry. To take small profits in funded account of 50K. You can, right? Um, Obviously you can. That would probably be the better way to go about it. It's just that it would take longer. The whole point for CPI is just to pass in one day. And you can only do that with Apex accounts because they offer 1 day pass promotions, right? And they're cheap. So I do them on 50K accounts myself. Obviously, I also manually trade myself, and I can pass an eval probably at an 80% rate. I fail evals. I'm not saying I never fail evals. To say that you never want to fail an eval is not the case, right? I fail evals, but I'm knowingly overly aggressive because I don't want to spend too much time on them, right? So the CPI is just another way to kind of get around that, to where if you can pass a 90% rate using CPI data once a month, you can just scale with 3 or 4 evals every single month, and you'll have 20 in 3 and 4 or 5 months. You know, that's how I've scaled from 0 to 20 before. So I don't know. Again, it would just depend on what algorithm you're using, how aggressive you want to be, what prop firm you're using as well. There's a bunch of variations and a bunch of different what's it called, variables that you have to think of when you're talking about things like that. But I hope that answered the question there. Sorry, I've been talking nonstop like this since like 12 o'clock, so my throat is like. Got it. By the way, you're a natural in explaining things. Thanks. I appreciate that, brother. I've had a lot of practice, that's for sure. But like I said, keeping things simple, stupid is definitely the best way to go about it. 100%. Yeah. If you want to pass the account more secure way, Zeus or Q Chronos if you're an elite. Safest way would always be depending on sizing, because realistically, right, can you fail an eval with Zeus? 100%. There's a 100% chance you can fail an eval with Zeus. But it's not dependent on the algorithm, it's dependent on the sizing that you're using, right? If you're trading an eval with Zeus and you're using 1 micro or 2 micros, right? Historically speaking, in the past 2-3 years since it's existed, or 3-4 years since it's existed, you would have never failed an evaluation, right? Especially if you stayed out of especially if you stayed out of like high impact news days, right? So safeness is more so dependent on sizing, I would say. Will it take a little bit longer to pass? Sure. But what's your priority, right? Passing an account at a high rate, but it's taking a month or a month and a half, or passing an account at a very, very low rate, but it's taking 2 or 3 days. You know, what what is what's the number one thing that you're looking for? right? Like if I go here and I show Q Zeus year to date, let me see here. If I go here and I show Q Zeus year to date, this is with 2 micro contract base, right? 2 micros. People will see this and they'll say, "Oh, this isn't good enough." People that have never passed an eval, never gone to a PA, never gone to payout. We'll give them an algorithm that has an 80% win rate, 4.0 profit factor, with just 2 micros, averaging about $2,000 a month, and they'll say that's not good enough. That's not quick enough profits for me. And then you wonder why 95% of people fail. And I'm going to be the first person that will be 100% brutally honest with all of you. I do not care. My job isn't to convince you on things. My job is to just show you what it is and give you my honest opinion about it. Right? Like at the end of the day, if you see this and you can say, I can get similar results to this based on historical data with 2 micro contracts completely hands off, but it will take a month and a half to pass an eval and maybe a month and a half to get to a payout, and that's not good enough for you, then the algorithm, the setting, or whatever program you're running is not the issue. You are. That's why, sadly, we have some ATS members that just haven't figured it out yet. We can't control what you guys do with our algorithms. If you put this algorithm on your P accounts or on your cash account, right, and you're trading 5 mini contracts, and one loss breaches your account, that's not the algorithm's fault. That's your fault because you're not attributing size to the profitability of the algorithm, right? If you took the largest loss that this thing has seen in equity with the 2 micro contracts, right? So 2 micro contracts as an example. If you took the largest loss, $727, right, is the largest loss in equity you would have seen year to date. If you are taking that and you're multiplying that by 10, right? $7,270,000 on max equity drawdown, and you're putting that on a 50K account that size, you're going to fail accounts. But the algorithm is still profitable because if you can't last one loss or 2 losses, I think the most all year it's taken in a row is 2 losses in a row. If your sizing and your prop firm account can't survive that, you're way over risked. You're way over leveraged. At that point, that no algorithm is going to help you. Even an algorithm that's 99.9% profitable win rate, because that will still take losses. And if you're oversized, it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, you're still losing money if you take a loss, right? And no strategy is 100% win rate. I don't care what they say or whatever, right? So that's why sizing is more important than the algorithm. The algorithms themselves work. Hands off. If you're patient, tell you what, if you're patient and you're, let's say January 1st to today, that's what this is showing. 2 micros, and you just put it on your P accounts on January 1st, and you didn't touch it, right? Across, let's say, 10, 15, 20 accounts. You didn't touch it. You'd be up $10,000 on all 20 of those accounts. That's $200,000 that you could request right now. How many of you make $200,000 in 10 months or a year or 5 years, right? But I think specifically prop firms and Instagram influencers and crypto space and all these things where people are saying, 1,000,000% or 1,000% or 5,000%, or I'm driving a Bugatti, but I also have like a course that costs $5,000. Like make it make sense for me. If you see this and you think that this is not good enough for you, someone who is not profitable, who has not gone past an eval, who's not gone, you know, a payout before, like you're not in reality because you need to do this first before then you can do the $10,000 in a day or in a trade, right? You need to, just like with trading, you need to build up to that. You can't just say, oh, okay, I'm just going to start here making $20,000 a month, right? Can you build up to it? Sure, but you need to scale there, right? And again, it also depends on what your economic status is. If you have a lot of money to throw at evals, You can naturally be more aggressive with your sizing. But you also need to mentally understand that if you're more aggressive with sizing, you're more willing, or you should be more willing to lose accounts. You're going to have a higher fail rate. That's natural. That's how trading works. Any investment works. If you risk more, you're going to lose more. Simple. You're also going to make more, but if your account can't handle when you're losing, then it doesn't really matter, right? So again, two micro contracts. We could double, maybe even triple this, and still be within about a 50K account when it comes to the max equity drawdown. Would we be getting close? Sure. Let's say we change this to 6. So instead of from 2, we're tripling this, we're going to 6, right? And then the max martingale, let's say we're only martingale it once. Now we're seeing results for that same exact trades if we were just using 3 times the sizing. $2,043 max equity drawdown survives almost any 50K account, specifically Apex, which has $2,500. And this includes red folder news days, which here on April 1st, last Friday or two Thursdays ago, I'm sorry, when Trump was speaking, another Thursday when Trump was speaking. Simple. You go to your alert. These are my alerts that I have that are automating. Trump is speaking at 11 a.m. Oh, dang, okay, pause. I've now stayed away from almost 100% of the 99 percentile losses that the algorithm has taken. What's a 99 percentile loss? If your average loss is $300, and then you have one trade at 1,000, that's a loss. Another trade that's $1,200, that's a loss. Another one's at $1,500, that's a loss. Those are your 99 percentile losses. Those are your, you have your data points, you have your data sets, you have your bell curve. Those are the ends of the bell, right? Not the average or what can be expected during normal circumstances. So just by doing this, clicking that button, pausing and playing, keeps you away from almost every single 99 percentile loss that's within. For example, this one was an $1,800 loss. This one here was a $900 loss. This one here was a $1,200 loss. On days that 11 a.m. red folder, Trump speaks. Just pause that day and you don't see that loss, right? $1,400 loss, red folder news day, more than likely. Not every single day, right? Obviously. But quite literally, I want to say maybe 80 or 90% of the days that we've experienced a larger than normal loss has been on days like FOMC or Trump tariff news or Trump social post or Trump speaking or if we decide to run during CPI for whatever reason, which I don't know why you would, but whatever. Like, are we going to miss out on some wins? Sure. But mentally speaking, and this is something that everybody should understand, you can never control how much money you make in trading. You can only ever control how much money you lose. That's point blank period. That's a fact. Okay? Can't control what you make. You can only control what you lose. The only thing you control is sizing, how much you're sized into an account, how much you're sized into a strategy, right? So if that's good, if your sizing is good, if it's good for a cash account, for a prop firm account, whatever, and you're not profitable using this, you're doing something wrong. I'm sorry to tell you. Okay. And a lot of times it's with oversizing, it's with over leveraging, it's with some people even still will see numbers like this and they'll be like, oh, it's a little bit in drawdown, so I'm going to pause or I'm going to close manually. Or it's a little bit in profit, I'm going to close manually. Right? When they get in the way of the algorithm letting it do its thing. Algorithms have to play their probabilities. You have to let it run in order to get these results. Right? So again, plays back to what I said, where just because you're an ATS client does not mean that you're successful. I would say most of them, a very, very large majority are, but some are not because they don't use it the way that it's supposed to be used. They use it inefficiently, they're strategy hopping, they're over trading, they are trying to look for quick profits across the board. Everybody that's not successful, that's all. They all do the same thing. You put them in a room separately. What do you do? This, and this. They all tell you the same thing. You put everybody who's successful in a room separately. What do you do? This, and this. It'll be consistent across the board. People who are successful, people who are not successful. All we can do is provide with you guys algorithms that work, programs that are quick with execution, that are undetectable to prop firms, and then support and training. Those 5 things. How you then take that information and then actually implement it is up to you guys, right? Because you guys are everybody here, I'm assuming, are adults. I doubt we have any children in here, right? You're all adults. So you have to be able to take the information you're given and then make the educated decision on how to use it. And we share that. We share all the data points. We share all the best days to trade, all the best days not to trade, all the days to pause. There's a poll that we sent. Who's automating today? It's FOMC today. Oh my God, what do I do? There's a poll. Who's automating today? 90% of people will say no. If you still decide to automate and you take a loss, that's partially your fault. I'm sorry to say. Did the algorithm take a trade? Sure, right? But just like with any hedge fund, high frequency trading firm, they're not paying these people $250,000 a year just to press a button on and let an algorithm run 24/7. If it was that easy, they would just have someone come in every 5 minutes in the morning, press on, and let it trade, right? You still have to manage your algorithm and put it in the best possible scenario to be profitable, right? It definitely helps with the time frame that we have. This only trades 9:35 to 11:30, right? But there's still some days that may not, or 9:35 to 11:30 Monday through Thursday, right? But there's still some days that's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Trump is speaking on Tuesday. Maybe I shouldn't automate, right? Probably most people aren't. They've told me. I think I know better. I'm going to automate on today. $1,500 loss. Shit. What do I do now? That's exactly how it happens. And I'm not knocking on people that do that. I've done it myself. I had to learn how to automate. It's the same thing with manual trading, right? But I'd rather you guys know that now ahead of time. I talk about it in the ATS demo webinars. I talk about it in the boot camps. I talk about it in the small ATS group chats. I talk about it during live trading on YouTube. Like I talk about it 5 different times a day. I almost know the speech, verbatim in the back of my head, right? And I can tell you over and over and over again, but until that clicks for you as an individual, you're going to stay in the same exact spot 5 years from now. Instead of being unprofitable for 5 years, 5 years from now, you're going to be unprofitable for 10 years because nothing changed. Nothing's clicking for you, right? Because you're not willing to make that change. And that just goes again. Results are going to vary, but one thing that always stays consistent is how people use the algorithms efficiently with essentially the proper proper sizing and all that stuff. I'm gonna go through some of the chat because I was yapping for so long there. I'm gonna go through some of the questions. If you're looking for a Lambo by this weekend, good luck to you. Is it possible? Sure. It's very unlikely though. That's the point I'm trying to make. Does the graph on the screen show any martingale strategy? This does. So this martingale, so if you go to I did not mean to do that. This martingale, so if you go to the settings, this is your base. So if we're automating to QuantLink, right, it'll take the quantity order size. So whatever your base is your quantity. The contracts open is the max that'll martingale to. So if my base is 6 and the max contracts I have to is set to 12, then I'll only take trades of 6 contracts or 12 contracts, right? Martingale with this specific strategy does not mean dollar cost averaging. What it'll do is it'll take a trade. If that's a losing trade, the next trade will double down. If that's a losing trade, then let's say I have my contracts max to 24 instead of 12, it'll double down again, right? So that's the reason why, although it has an 80% win rate, when we do take a loss, right? A very quick recovery rate, because every winning trade following a loss or a string of losses is always going to be at least one contract more than all the previous trades added up, right? So for example, 6 and 12, what is that? 20, right? If this is a loss and this is a loss, that's 2 separate trades that are loss for, 18. Oh my God, I'm terrible at math. 18 contracts. The next trade that it takes is 24. Oh, but this 24 trade was a winning contract. Now I'm basically canceling out both losses put together with just one trade. Because historically, by the data that we see, after every losing trade, the following trade is slightly a little bit of a higher win rate. So as long as your sizing can hold any drawdown period or string of losses, again, this year, the most it's seen in a row is 2, right? So if you had it maxed out at 12 and you had it, oh my God, it's pissing rain outside. Sorry, if you had it maxed out at 12 and your base was 6, if you take a loss at 6 and you take a loss at 12, the next trade will be 12, right? So that's where it's like, okay, whatever you max it out to will vary. Okay, but obviously here, let's say I did 24. So let's say I did 24 as a max. So it goes 6, 12, 24. That'll change the results a little bit because now I'm martingale an extra time if I had 2 losses in a row, which we did at some point, right? So now notice how this goes from 29 to 30, and this goes from 2,000 to 2,100. So is it worth it for me to do maybe an extra $3,000 with an extra $100 of drawdown? Sure, maybe, maybe not. It's up to you, right? But again, we have the out of the box settings that is all predetermined, and then you can adjust the sizing based off of however aggressive or intermediate you want to be. Okay, and you can do the same thing for all the algorithms. This is just an example. I'm going to go through some more questions. Does this trade daily? Are there any period where it doesn't trade 5 days? Take profit trade as a policy. So it will trade at least once a week, I would say. Very rarely. I don't think it's ever not traded for a whole week, but it will take days. It will trade or take days where it doesn't trade. For example, last week didn't trade Monday. It traded Tuesday. Did not trade Wednesday. It traded Thursday. Did not trade Friday. Did not trade today. It almost always never trades Friday. The out of the box settings, right? Didn't trade today. If you're out towards the end of the week, I think what is it, 5 days? You have to make a trade every week. If by 11:30 a.m. Friday it hasn't taken a trade, just take a trade manually with a couple micros. That'll fix that consistency rule that they have for the policy. Do you pause at 5 minutes before news or way earlier? Honestly, for me, Zeus, anything like PPI or not PPI, PMI or consumer whatever it's called, I forget. Sorry, I'm having a brain fart. Anything like that that's like usually it's like 10 a.m. news, red folder, I don't pause for. It's not we're not seeing a 500 point or 300 or 200 point move in a second, right? There'll be a small move, sure, but I don't see the need for it. For me, I'm pausing the morning of FOMC, like all morning. I'm not trading at all. The morning of FOMC, the day before NFP Friday, and then if Trump is talking right at the end of the window, during or right before the window, and I'll just pause the whole day. If you want to pause for 5 minutes before PMI news or consumer price index, whatever, or not consumer price index, CPI, I'm sorry, or like house sales or home sales, which usually comes at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to pause 5 minutes before and resume 5 minutes after, you can. That should be fine, right? Especially for Zeus, but for Zeus, because it's on the 5 minute, I don't really see a need for I don't see the need for it personally. I don't do it personally. You can if you want to, though, right? For the Trump pause, if you're already in a trade, you have to manually manage it after that, or manually close it. If you're already in a trade and you're pausing, because let's say that the entry was taken right here for the buy, and I paused it between when the entry was and when this sell or take profit hit, right? If I pause it between those two alerts, my trades won't get the exit. They won't take the take profit or the stop loss, right? So you'd have to manually close it. So if you're already in the trade and you're thinking of pausing it, at that point it's probably too late. You might as well just manually exit or whatever. But there's no reason why you shouldn't have an idea going into every morning what sort of news is coming on. You can go to forexfactory.com. That will tell you all the news. The only thing ones I really pay attention to is red folder and gray folder for USD. Right, those are the ones that you want to pay attention to if you're trading QZeus on Nasdaq, for example. Okay. I'm new here. I've been lectured for the last 10 minutes. I've learned absolutely nothing. That's sick, bro. If you haven't learned anything, then you don't need to be here. Coming from algorithmic options, kind of fucking bullshit is that? Coming from algorithm options, this is kind of a whole new world, but similar. Yeah, options is I think is much more difficult than futures. At the end of the day, futures itself I think is much more, especially retail trader friendly. You need less upfront capital as well. Um, and yeah, I don't know. It's similar in the way of like what you're trying to do. Obviously, we want to be profitable. We want to have, a higher win rate, and if we don't have a higher win rate, we want to have a higher risk to reward, right? But it's just the way that for example, contracts and all that is calculated. If you go to YouTube, there's a ton of like futures 101 videos you can watch. It like breaks down like the basics of futures markets for you if you are having a little bit of like a learning curve on what futures is specifically as a market. Okay. Will strategy settings be customizable in ATS 2.0? I believe so. Yeah, I don't see why they wouldn't be. For sure. Yeah, similar to like the trading view. It would be similar where it's like you can model, backtest, and model different settings the way you can on trading view. It's just that the data is going to be better quality, I would say. Estefano.eth. Oh yeah, he's a crypto trader. No wonder. That makes sense. Yeah, if you guys are like this Estefano guy, I this isn't the place for you. I'm sorry to say. I told you guys. I'll tell you how it is. On a free call that we do every single week for you guys. Get out of here with that. I'll ban him right now. He won't ever use QuantVue. I'm kidding. But Banksy, quit the yapping and just make money for me already, right? For real, bro. That's so insane to me. That actually like baffles me. That's the 95% right there. All in one individual. Can you show how you use your Renko trading method? The manual system? I could go over it real quick. Let me share my screen. Was I already sharing TradingView? I think it was. So this is my manual system. Obviously, you can see the trades that I took today. This was on the boot camp that we took. So YouTube streams, I trade live Tuesday and Thursday. If you guys want to join, obviously you can. Um, this is more so for pro members or even elite and ATS members that want to also manually trade on the side. This is what I teach, right? So for me, the left side, and there's a whole YouTube video on it, so I'm going to go over it briefly, but I would watch the YouTube video if you can. I'll send it in the public chat after this call, so look out for it. But basically, it's very, very simple, right? I'm looking for all green for buys. I'm looking for breakouts, so a breakout would be like an opposing Renko brick box closing on the opposite end of my Q line. So blue line is the Q line. That's basically where my stop loss and where my trailing stop loss is going to be, right? The right side, I'm using candlesticks, opening range, VWAP, pivots to add confluence to areas that I'm looking to trade off of. So for example, the trade this morning was very simple. We're above VWAP, so I was naturally biased to bulls. We're around all-time highs now. So why you would be bearish, I have no idea. And I basically just took this bounce play. My entry was right here at 890. So this is what it looked like on the right side. So it was 820, I'm sorry. 820. My first target was at the halfway point of the opening range. My stop loss did start at 800, but the moment that we went that 10 points into profit, I automatically moved it up here to the Q line at 810. We took a majority of the profits here. Again, no news Monday. Again, trading plan, very, very under risk. I normally don't trade no news Mondays at all, anyways. Right. So I'm happy with this winning trade. Right. We took 60% or 66% of our profits here. The next profit was at the time all-time high and the opening range high as well. And then I ultimately ended up moving up to break even once we came down and then traded back up into this area. And in my opinion, I was like, if we traded lower, like just confident wise, I'm like, I'm not really confident in this then doing what it actually did. Just probability wise, I wasn't seeing that happening, right? Especially if we wanted to struggle, I was okay with taking those two contracts at the midpoint and then just getting stopped out with one, right? If you didn't move your stop loss, your take profit, or your stop loss at all from the beginning, where we had it originally, you would have caught the entire trade, and the overall TP was the pivot, which was up here. I don't think it was hit, was it? Yeah, it was hit. So you could have caught this entire trade. The original trade idea was this, right? Target 1, target 2, target 3, and you guys would be able to see it if you were on the boot camp. Profits for target 1 were hit. I decided to move stop loss up early just because I wanted to. It was just, again, a personal preference. But aside from that, if we're trailing by that Q line, you would have caught this entire move, because that would have been, oh yeah, literally here. Oh my god, this thing kept going though. You would have caught this entire move actually. You would have been in this entire trade up to, let's say, where market closes at 5. That's 4 right here. So market is closed now, right? Your stop loss would have been in profit at 970. This would have been your stop loss right here. So that would have been your stop loss in profit. Obviously, you would have closed somewhere around here before market closed, I guess. But by definition, trailing here, you would have caught that whole move. And that's why it's just simple. It's easy to copy and easy to learn. Thank you, Austin. Austin sent the strategy playlist for it. Blue line referencing. So that's supposed to be like, what's it called? I'm trying to think of the word. It's technically supposed to be like dynamic support and resistance. I use it as my stop loss. So my stop loss is always going to be the first grid point and where there would be a brick close on the opposite end of that. So if we don't see any bricks close, so if we zoom in right here, right, where we see price come back down, for those of you that don't know Renko bricks only measure price movement. There's no time. So one Renko brick could be 5 seconds, the other one could be 5 minutes, right? So it just measures time or price movement. So for example, on this drop down right here, my stop loss would have been at 25,820, and then I always add 2 ticks. So 25,819.5. So if we're looking on the left side here, this is that same pullback that we were talking about. My stop loss would have been 18 or 19.5 right there, right? So we would not have been stopped out here, okay? And again, if you're on Forex, you probably definitely would have been stopped out, and that's the reason why I don't like it, because of spreads. There's no spreads in futures. And this entire way up, notice how we don't have, the idea is that we're supposed to be trailing the entire time. Notice how we don't have a single box close. So any of these pullbacks, nothing, right? There was even a trade here that I said you could have taken a buy here. This was towards the end of the stream. Could have taken a buy here off the top of the opening range. Your stop loss would have started here. So this is where that would have looked. So top of the opening range. Your stop loss at the time would have been 3 boxes. Because notice the baby blue. I know it's hard to tell now because price already formed. But see that baby blue kind of like start to inch up already? That will be once this candle closes, right? So you would have started with a 3-box stop loss. The moment that these next 2 bricks printed, you would have seen this baby blue line move up. And then the baby blue line is right at 850, which is where the box would have closed. So it's the grid points, right? So stop loss would have been here the whole time. So you would have been up 30 points. You would have experienced this pullback, but your stop loss would still be the same. And then if you just trailed by that blue line, again, you would have caught the entire move to the upside. Just again, just a quick explanation. I don't always go for pivots. That's like the biggest, I would say the biggest level, I would say. I also implement like previous day highs, lows, previous week highs and lows, which QuantVue has a pro member indicator, which you do have access to as an elite and ATS member, that paints those. So like, we gapped up past all-time highs Sunday night. We've just been trading up. So like previous week and day high are here, previous day low is here. It's like I would also implement those levels, but mostly pivot and VWAP. Because pivots are one of the very few things that are more than a 50-50 chance on their own for like statistically working. Everything else is like about 50-50. If you get a higher win rate or higher probability when you add confluence to it, pivot points there are one of the very like less than a handful of things that by itself works more than a coin flip chance. It's the same. Q line settings don't change for box settings. The only thing you're changing is the Q cloud. Everything else stays the same. That's a quick description. I don't want to go over too much, like I said, but you guys have the YouTube video there. There's like 3 YouTube videos that discuss this strategy alone that you guys can go and watch if you'd like. And then if you go to the manual trading forum, the Banksy manual forum has all the people that are also trading it right here, like asking questions, sharing settings, right? So you can always go in here and ask questions and help and stuff. Yeah, there too. Obviously, you need to be at least a pro member for that manual stuff. I teach it for free on YouTube and all that stuff, and I live stream it. The live stream does have a delay, but you would need the tools basically to enter if you want to trade it on your own. And people use it for gold overnight. They use it for YM. They use it for ES. You can basically use it for anything, any asset really, because you're just trading price action. You're just trading the price movement. But it's probably going to be it today. I don't like to really make these calls longer than an hour, maybe an hour and 15 if I could help it, because going back to like recordings and stuff, like I don't want people to be like, oh my god, a 3-hour recording I have to watch. I want to make them short. If you guys do want to watch or be a part of the webinar on Wednesdays at 4, Connor did send a link, but he might send it again in a little bit. You can sign up there. That goes a more in-depth thing over ATS demo and all that. Boot camps, our next one, open enrollment, won't be until next month because we're like right smack dab in the middle of the current one. That would be separate from ATS or Elite or Pro. You can sign up for that separately. And obviously, we'll make an announcement when the open enrollment begins. And then also from the large group webinar, the large group demo webinar on Wednesday, if you like what you guys see with ATS, then we also do a small group webinar. So it's like you and maybe 1 or 2 other people, more one-on-one, where you guys will be able to have your mic unmuted and ask questions and all that stuff. And just kind of go from there. Okay. But it's like a whole process, questions, answers, most of the stuff you can find in the free sections in the Discord, on the YouTube. And if you just guys need more help, just feel free to message us or email us. Banksy, so you always trail with 2 boxes? No, I trail by the Q line. At the very beginning, it was 2 boxes. I changed that. There's people that still trade by 2 boxes. That's fine. But I personally do the Q line. It just gives me more room, gives the trade more room to breathe, and it's less active. I have to take less trades, get stopped in profit or break even less amount of times, less trades overall, right? But those are the 2 links for everything. Like I said, as we all know, I know we don't really need to talk about this now, but anything pro or elite monthly has a 30-day money back guarantee, and then anything for ATS now, it has a 120-day money back guarantee with certain terms and conditions. Those you can find on the website. What else? Am I missing anything, Austin? Is there anything that you have coming for like NinjaTrader or any updates you want to mention? I know I've been talking the whole time.
Yeah, I might have a QGrid Elite update here in the next couple days. I had an issue last week with opening a double trade, so that's been patched. P&L system's been updated to the new system, so it works a little bit more reliably. So I tested it today. Tested fine. I want to test it again, just with some weird numbers to give it a weird condition, and then I'll push an update for that.
Okay, awesome. Well, he'll obviously let us know about that. We'll also make an update for it or an announcement for it too. But like I said, I appreciate you guys for joining. Thank you for being here, being attentive. These calls, you could always learn something, even if you're an ATS member or elite member. These aren't just for non-members. If you guys have questions, like I said, feel free to reach out, ask those questions, email us. You can tag us in the public or support channel. And yeah, I mean, aside from that, that's basically it. We'll see you guys Wednesday if you decide to do the ATS demo call. If not, then we'll see you guys in the Discord. All right, guys.
See ya.
All right, everybody. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Take care of yourselves. Have a good night, and we'll see you guys in the server. All right.